Greetings and welcome to another episode hosted by me. Today we'll be looking at an obscure little title from 1988 called The Scheme. Now, The Scheme is an action platformer with RPG elements and a kick-ass soundtrack, the title track being no exception. Now, I'm willing to wager that most of you have never heard of this game, and that's because it was exclusive to the PC-8801 computer. This was a Japanese-only computer that was fairly advanced for its time and produced many classic games, including Gradius, Sylphid, Dexter, and one of my favorite RPGs of all time, Ys the Vanished Omens, which was ported to many systems, including the spectacular Apple IIgs version. But the system also saw many cool games that never saw any ports at all, including The Scheme. So first step is to create a new game by entering into kill mode and deleting one of the existing games. Yes, that's the meaning of kill mode. And yes, I was disappointed not to see a cage fight to the death. So just enter in your name using the characters on the screen and... Wait a second, why is a heart an option for a character in an action platformer? What kind of a sissy hero is this? Well, regardless, just click End when done and proceed on to the game. So you start the game unarmed and unsure of which direction to go. Just grab the item on the left, and now you're equipped with the first weapon of the game, blue balls. Visually, the game is very Castlevania-ish and even music-wise, but plays more like a Metroid game with an insanely large map and little direction. When enemies are destroyed, they explode into bubble shapes. The blue items restore your energy, and the red ones increase your force.
The force is strong in this one.
Actually, the force is not strong with this one, at least not yet. But as you continue to gain more red items, you gain more force. And as you gain more force, your strength increases. At the end of the first level, you face off against the first of many bosses. As you would expect, the first boss is relatively easy, although jumping over him is easier said than done. He just paces toward you until you get around him, then he sinks into the ground and rises up like a zombie from Ghosts and Goblins. Once destroyed, he'll release a bunch of balls, and then you can backtrack back to the start, but this time continue going right. You'll cross a bridge and come upon a pillar that now rises up when previously it would not because you hadn't destroyed the boss yet. This kind of predicament is very common through the game. Basically, you explore the levels, destroying bosses and gathering items that will unlock entryways to the next sections of the game. For instance, here you come across a horse head statue that is too high for you to jump over, and it's immune to your bullets. So you'll need to venture off and explore the area until you face off against a boss which holds that particular item. In this case, it's a floating green dragon head thing. Once destroyed, you claim your reward. Once you return to the room, you can now pass through the obstacle and into the next section. It's these elements combined with the non-linear approach of the game that reminds me of Metroid. The game is extremely large, over 500 rooms, and you don't have to go in a set order. There's also going to be environments that you simply cannot survive without special items, like this bridge area. You can see my energy slowly deteriorating. At first I thought I had to keep walking right and I'd eventually reach safety. Instead, all I met was my death. Luckily, the game lets you continue or save, although it's going to take you back to the beginning of the level. So if I equip myself with a fire item, I can now enter into that bridge area safely. Most of the time, though, items won't just be sitting there for the taking. You'll have to defeat a boss in order to get it. The harder the boss, the cooler the item. Although, not really. One kind of cheap element to the game is that after you've destroyed all the enemies on a screen, if you come back to that screen, they respawn. Yeah, it's one of those games. Oh, come on, get back up there. Ah, you stupid bats. Ah, blue snails. What the hell kind of enemies are these anyway? Of course, the cheapness works both ways, and if you find a room where the enemies are easily destroyed, you can return to the room over and over again, continuing to reap the rewards. This is a great way to restore your energy and also to gain more force, which can lead to a power-up. Dispersed throughout the game, you'll find giant L's, which are needed to level up your player. You really have to explore the levels thoroughly to find these, though. Although I really enjoyed this game, there is one thing I have to complain about, and that's the sheer size of these levels. I mean, they're just huge, and you'll often find yourself having to backtrack quite a bit to get back to where you need to be. It also doesn't help that many of the rooms look very similar to the next one. It wasn't so crazy that I had to draw a map or anything like that, but it got pretty close. The music kept me going though, and the sheer quirkiness of some of these enemies. Interestingly, the game had two totally different soundtracks. The normal setting, which I'm listening to right now, and a special one, which utilized the Soundboard 2 expansion. It was a higher quality, but personally, I actually liked the normal sound better. The soundtrack was composed by Yuzo Koshiro, who Nintendo Power claimed was arguably the greatest game composer of the 16-bit age, and he did a wonderful job capturing the atmosphere of this game, especially in this level, which, as you've noticed, lacks any fast-moving objects and really gives you that sense of the emptiness and coldness of this icy wasteland. Just watch out for death traps like this. The ice crystals are not friendly, and although slow, are quite deadly. And that's really all I have to say about the Scheme. A very awesome game that I think deserves to be played and deserves to be reviewed, and so that's why I did it. So, thank you for watching.